as much as we could. Maddison coming on certainly helped that extra bit of creation in the end, but it wasn't to be, and they'll be hugely disappointed with that result.
That's the voice of Steve Walsh. He joins me, Dan Bates, Simon Grayson and Matt Elliott to take you through the next half an hour or so. Hopefully we'll get some post-match reaction as well from Brendan Rodgers and maybe one of the players after that disappointing defeat here at King Power Stadium. Simon, I mean, what will Brendan Rodgers be saying right now to those Leicester players, do you think?
Look, I don't think he'll fault the effort, the commitment, because the players worked extremely hard. Defensively, they were quite assured. They had to put the bodies on the line, the work back, the track back. You saw Tielemans at times making a dash to get back into when Aston Villa were on the counter-attack. So I think you'll see them as the positives. I think the disappointment that the lads have said as well was that we went into the final third, it didn't really have any real creative, sustained pressure on them. And I think when you look at Aston Villa, what they had out there on paper, you see the match winner, Ross Barkley, he can do that. He score goals from distance out of nothing. You looked at the Leicester team and just thought, there's not really that real spark that can just go and win you a game when it really looked like it was going to head for a 0-0 and a point for both teams. So Brendan he'll take some of the positives. He'll just be disappointed that they've not really capitalised first half when they had a bit more of the pressure. Second half, they were on the back foot a lot more because of Villa came into the game more. And a bit of slack defensive play from the midfield players. Chowdhury, I think it was, let Barkley get the other side of him, and then nobody came to the ball quick enough to close him down, and he can do that. That's why he's played for England and had the clubs that he's had. And again, another good addition for Aston Villa to go and win him the game tonight.
Yeah, it was what's turning out to be a great signing for Aston Villa, Matt, and he proved that there with that strike, because obviously we've got our Leicester goggles on, but it was a brilliant strike, and you have to say fair play to that. Yeah,
and he's got that capability, hasn't he? You know, as the boys just said there. I mean, he's the main man when he was at Everton. I find it a little bit of a surprise that it didn't really take off for him at Chelsea. I don't know. Such as the competition, the quality players at Stamford Bridge, but he seems like, not saying he's the main man, because Grealish is probably the main man, but they're sort of dynamic duo a little bit now, aren't they? And you can see he sort of feeds off that a little bit. And while he wasn't brilliant tonight in general play, Ross Barkley, he certainly has that quality, that capability. And as soon as it fell to him in that area, and you thought, you feared the worst. And again, as Simon says, with a lot of other players out there on the park, you'd have been maybe surprised if they'd finished from there. It wasn't a surprise when Barkley did so, and Schmeichel had no chance. And I think there will be a little bit of an investigation as to how he was afforded that much room at that stage of the game, especially not labelling it totally on Hamza Chowdhury, but with Hamza coming on specifically probably for that role, he eluded Hamza, didn't he, there? And perhaps a little bit of naivety cost him the game. And it's a big blow, isn't it, really? You've put your effort in, and you've worked extremely hard, and you probably fancied your chances in the first half. But those hopes have sort of faded a little bit. You think, right, okay, let's make sure we get something out of this game. Come on, we need it. Just give us a little bit of a boost, especially with the fixture list that's coming their way. They need to get a little bit of a momentum built up, and that's been knocked right back now, hasn't it? It's a big blow there. 2 home defeats on the trot, going into the Europa League, and all of a sudden there's an extra little bit of pressure on the next league game as well.
Chris on Twitter says, heartbreaker. I think he speaks for pretty much most Leicester fans when he says that as well. Walshy, I think, as we've already spoken about, as it ticked over the stoppage time was announced 4 minutes, and you thought, okay, fair enough, it's looking like it's going to be a draw, and he just almost out of absolutely nothing, Ross Barkley was able to produce that.
It hurts, and them lads will be sat there definitely like we said before, feeling like they should have had something out of the game, but it's been taken away from them from a very good team. You know, a Villa top of the league now. I think they possibly are.
Couple points behind Everton, but they're the only team with a 100% record.
And have they got a game in hand?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, listen, Villa are a different outfit now, different proposition, and they showed it today. Like I said, that resilience, the counter play that they've got dangerous players now, and they're working hard as a unit. And Leicester stretched them, tested them, probed, but never got that final bit right. And obviously, without a Jamie Vardy, we've got to look at how we can, you know, who we can play, how we, you know, who is going to be the natural replacement. Do we play a different formation? But you know, it was, you know, Hamza just slightly gets caught. Was that needed, that change with Mendy? He did look tired, to be fair, and probably that's the reason why Brendan thought I'll bring on another holding midfielder really who will put a tackle in, and unfortunately just didn't get back in quick enough. But overall, like we've said, there were some good performances. I thought Castagna showed class. Fofana, definitely a classy player, and really happy with that defensive four as a unit. All day they were strong, and they'll be hurt. Kasper, you know, he'll be disappointed for not getting a clean sheet tonight. Deserved one. But we've got to go again. We've got to pick ourselves up. We've got game after game, and like you say, it's just you've just got to look. Certainly that we gave everything, which we always do now. The possession stats would probably show that we were on top, I would say. Chances-wise, there wasn't many chances for either team in the game. Yet, you know, I said at half-time, there's going to be one goal in it, and unfortunately it's gone to Villa.
Yes, I know that barring a Leeds win tomorrow, Leicester do stay in the Premier League's top four, even after that defeat, which again, Simon, sums up the start that Leicester have made. It's been a very good one, but yes, now 2 defeats at home in a row is bitterly disappointing because it could be oh so much better.
Yeah, of course. The start that the club had has been a fantastic start, and then after trying to build off the result against Man City, you go and lose at home 3-0, which wasn't a great result, and you want to bounce back. And there was a lot of positives tonight, but there just wasn't that killer instinct, that quality to go and to win the game. And then when the opposition do that to you in the last few seconds, few minutes of the game, it hurts you because you've worked extremely hard to get something out of the game. And I think once the board went up with the number of minutes that were left, I think both Brendan and Dean Smith would have taken a point each, because I think over the course of the game it was probably about a fair result. And then you'd have thought, yeah, point each, both sort of had a real good start to the season, move on to the next one. So yeah, back-to-back defeats isn't ideal, but the games, as Walshy said, are going to come thick and fast. The Europa League starts on Thursday, then Arsenal away, another Europa game, and then away at Leeds. So you can't dwell on it. You learn from it. You look at the positives, you look at the negatives, and you still look at the table that you're still potentially going to be in the top 6 after tomorrow night as well.
Before we look ahead to that Europa League game on Thursday, Matt, and the future fixtures, who's the one man that stood out, do you think, for you from a Leicester City point of view this evening?
Me,
yes,
Matey. Sorry,
Matt.
mate.
Your name is Matt, isn't it?
Sorry, I was half listening there. I was just watching the lads doing their extra bit of work there. Well, I was sort of 3/4 of the way through saying it at the back end of the game, but there was an incident and James Fielden took over from me, shut me up basically. Yeah, I thought the two really for me that stood out was Fofana, not just because of his debut. I thought he was pretty impressive, again, as the boys have mentioned, and Castagna, for me, his athleticism is unbelievable. You know, he flies up and down the right-hand touchline, but I thought he had a tough job on his hands dealing with Grealish. And Grealish, listen, he featured, you know, relatively prominently for Aston Villa, but he didn't cause any massive alarms a lot of the time, and I think Castagna dealt with him very well, but also found time to get forward himself. Nothing actually came of it eventually, but yeah, I thought he was very, very impressive. The way he works up and down that right-hand touchline, they've got a great signing there.
Well, thank you very much,
I
Matt,
think
and
that.
thank you for listening as well. Sorry, Simon, what were you saying?
Sorry, I was just going to say that probably just sums up the game, doesn't it? When Matt's talking about the two best players for Leicester and both defenders. Well, it's great that they two have played well, but if you're going to win games, you need the top end of the pitch players to go and win you the games. That's why they get paid the big bucks, and us three defenders are still doing stuff like this.
How impressed were you, Walshy, with Wesley Fofana across the 90 minutes? Because I know at half-time you were very impressed, and even in that second half as well.
Yeah, very classy. His positional sense is perfect. His timing was great. You know, the formation, the togetherness that he's got, and the understanding already with Johnny Evans is brilliant. They play off each other, which is great. They cover each other. Two top-class centre-backs we've got there, and you know, if we need to play a three, we've got three top-class centre-backs, whatever we play. But he was terrific for his debut to come into a pressure game like that, and he just looked very composed on the ball. He's a footballer, a clever player, good brain. So yeah, everything about him oozes class. So I was very impressed with his first game. You know, and we can pick at fault with a few things, as we are critics, really. You know, when we look at games and analyse them after, it's easy, but Leicester, they put so much effort into that game and really deserve something out of it. I think that Villa did the same as well, which I've not seen from a Villa side for a long time, that they showed that resilience. But you know, I think looking at some of the decisions as well, there was some cynical fouls from Villa, pullbacks. There was one, I think it was Cash on Barnes the first half. I think that it was a opportunity to score for Leicester because they had men forward and he was through. I think that could be a red, but you know, let's not forget that Johnny Evans was cynical when he brought Watkins down. The good thing there for Fofana, which was clever, had dropped off, and he knew that we were in trouble, which was great. Like I said, they cover each other, and that saved Johnny Evans from probably getting a red card. But you know, overall, we kept Watkins quiet. He didn't really have a chance, did he? Not many. So overall, you know, that defensive unit was terrific, very solid, very organised, and the way we defended was good. There was just that one Mings header, which was maybe he could have done better, Mings, and that was a bit of a scary moment for Leicester. But like Simon just said, it's about scoring goals and being clinical and finishing, and big players do it in certain games. And I think that we just took the wrong decisions 3 or 4 times. But listen, you know, we get up, we go again, and we've got to find that right form, and things will come off next time. But we've got to work it out. We've got to take the chances, make them right decisions, and then we're going to beat teams, because they certainly play some fantastic football at times. Or you know, I look at it, and some of the things we do, we've got such classy players, and yet we've been undone. Just one moment that we've stepped off, and Barkley, you know, he's not had too much joy tonight. Classy player. You know, you let someone shoot from there. You know, you've got to maybe close down quicker, and it was just a killer blow for us.
So the two central defenders have had their say on a current Leicester central defender in Wesley Fofana. As a former City right-back, Simon, a word on Timothy Castagne, because he's come in this summer and he's looked extremely assured on that right-hand side.
Yeah, he has. Look, he's got a good reputation. Again, you only come to Leicester City at this time if you're a good player. Premier League champions a few years ago, qualified for Europe. Leicester City is an attractive football club for people to come to now. New stadium, good manager, great owners. So he's a good player. He's come in, he's got a lot of good attributes. Modern day fullback, gets up and down. Somewhere down the line you can see Leicester playing 3 centre-backs, and he would be one of the wing-backs because he can do that job all day long. He's a modern day fullback, isn't he, where they do get up and they defend. He had to defend against Grealish at times. He had to deal with Watkins when he was drifting out into them areas. So, yeah, he seemed to have settled in very quickly. But good players know the positions and know what to do. And I do think that the players that Leicester have brought in defensively are going to make them certainly more secure and going forward for the long term. tonight it was just more about sort of the top end of the pitch, that when there was a decision to be made, when to shoot, when to cross, what type of cross, what kind of ball you're going to play, just didn't happen for him, and a little bit of moment of magic from Barkley has cost Leicester at least a point from and a hard working point at that. So
yeah, I think we're one position, I think, with one player position from a very, very good team at 11, and that's to cover for Jamie Vardy. It really is. You can see it clearly. We've got everything. It's just that bit of cover. When he doesn't play, it doesn't quite happen for us, and you can understand why, because there was 2 or 3 moments in the game that there was runs that he would make that would, you know, and his finishing, you know, that's it, a naturally born finisher. Without him, we haven't got a natural finisher, I don't think, in the team. So I think Brendan will be looking to get that cover, you know, in the window probably. Just one player missing for me in that team, because they've done ever so well and broke down just in that position. It's easy for everyone to say that without a Vardy course, but have we got the right backup in that area? Difficult to say. It was worth giving Slimani a chance, no doubt about that. But you know, again, he didn't show us enough. There was a few glimpses of him, but you know, not chasing and hounding everybody like that Vardy does. And he's a sore point, because we miss him so much in every game when he doesn't play, and it's unfair to say. It's unfair on Iheanacho, because he did put himself about today, but you know, there's a difference.
The problem with that. Go on, Simon. Sorry,
I was just going to say the problem with trying to get sort of a similar level of quality with Jamie Vardy is that, you know, you've got Vardy in front of you. You're not going to come if you're only going to be sat on the bench more times than not. So that's a real difficult scenario. You saw Tottenham over the last few years never gone and got any cover for Harry Kane, because they knew whoever was coming to the club was not going to play too much. You're always going to get that sort of second choice striker that isn't the level of Vardy, and that's a real difficult scenario and situation to be involved for the manager and the player that they're trying to attract, because people want to come and have game time. So it's also, when you look at the strikers as well, Waller, it's the creative opportunities as well. And tonight just didn't seem that final pass was there for Iheanacho to be on the end of things, was it really?
Absolutely, mate. And you know, like you say, it's just them runs that Vardy makes, and he, you know, defenders fear that one ball over the top, and they didn't tonight, because there wasn't enough pace from them going forward and looking over the shoulder. So it was disappointing, but still, you know, it doesn't take away from the way we've played right up to that final bit, and just couldn't unlock that magic moment.
Unfortunately not. But, Matt Elliott, the European adventure starts on Thursday, doesn't it? It is here at King Power Stadium, of course, against Zorya Luhansk. How are you feeling ahead of that one, and how do you think Leicester will be feeling ahead of playing that first Europa League game?
Yeah, well, listen, in a few days' time, or before that, the excitement will start kicking in, won't it? You know, for the start of the Europa League challenge. And you know, it's a different venture. It's... you know, it's exciting to be involved in Europe. OK, it's not the Champions League, but it doesn't happen too often in Leicester City's history, and they'll be looking to make the most of it, won't they? And I'm sure they'll feel, despite the 2 results that have happened recently, that they have a very good chance of acquitting themselves well, you know, in that league. The opposition that they've come up against, you know, not to be taken lightly, but at the same time, you know, you've got to go into it confident that you can do well in the group. And it's such a shame that the supporters are not around. You know, it's the same for everyone, unfortunately, but particularly in the European competitions, because it's held in such regard, isn't it? You know, the old European tour was a massive occasion in the Champions League, wasn't it, not so long ago? And
brings back some great memories, though, Matt, won't it? You know,
exactly.
When you think.
It would help. I think it's possibly what Leicester need at the moment, you know, with the bright start, the 3 wins on the trot, everything looked rosy, and they've had a little bit of a step back or 2, and sort of not a rude awakening, but you know, back down to earth situation, and then they can go into it. There's no sort of hangover from the Premier League. They're going into a separate competition, you know, different sort of atmosphere about it, even though the crowd is not around, obviously, but You know, they can attack it, and it's a fresh venture for them, and it may just be what they need. It might revitalise them in the short term. Over the long term, it's going to be, you know, a bit of a haul probably, and it's going to be difficult to manage for Brendan Rodgers with his squad. But he's got the quality to do that. He's got the experience to do that. You know, if anyone, you wanted anyone in charge at Leicester City, it would be him to deal with that situation. But yeah, it's a chance to sort of dust themselves down, go again, and be excited by something rather than go into the. If it was another league game coming up on Thursday, they might be a little bit hesitant and there'd be pressure on, because if they were to lose, it's free on the trot, etc. But you know, new challenge, exciting times ahead on Thursday.
Well, let's get some reaction now from pitchside here at King Power Stadium. This is Timothy Castagna speaking to James Justin.
Tim, it must be a really frustrated dressing room right now.
Yeah, it's tough to take this loss, especially because we were there until the end, and I think we tried to go too hard in front and gave away too much space. We didn't play our best today, but we cannot go away with a loss today. We have to keep at least the clean sheet.
Leicester had some really good spells in the game, periods when you were on top of Aston Villa. Just frustrating you couldn't get the goal in those periods, the ball just wouldn't drop in the right areas.
Yeah, we maybe weren't precise enough in front. They did also a good job defensively, but that's on us. We have to do better in these areas, and I think it went very well the first 3 games, and today we lacked also the precision, also the game against West Ham, we lacked that, and sometimes it's like this, we have to work harder and we'll get it again, but now it's just look at the next game and try to get away as much mistakes as we can from this game and do better next one.
It was quite an aggressive game. There were quite a lot of big challenges and tackles going in. Was there any reason for that? Was it enjoyable from that sense, especially when, you know, those kind of games come around when the fans are in the stadium?
Enjoyable, I'm not going to say that, but, you know, it's a fight. We fought today. As I said, we missed a bit the quality, but we fought, and I think that's even harder when you give your all and you just lose at the last second or last minute like that. So, but that's it. We have to move on from that and take as much positive as possible.
And is it a case now, after analysing the game, to try and forget about it and move forward to the Europa game against Zorya Luhansk on Thursday?
Yeah, obviously we're going to look at it, you know, look at the game again to see what we can do better. But of course we have to move on as quickly as possible to get ready for Thursday. And with how many games we have now in this period, we have to do that as well as we can, because it's not going to be easy. And if we can look at the next game every time, it's going to be maybe easier for us.
We're only a month into the season, but do you feel tired already? I know your mood is quite low at the moment, but do you feel it in the legs already or not?
A bit, you know, with the national team and everything, but I think everybody's like this, you know, it's not an excuse. Today we lacked the quality. It was not that they were better physically than us. We ran a lot too, and it's just on us because we couldn't score.
Timothy Castagna there speaking to LCFC radio commentator James Fielden, not James Justin, of course. It's been a long Sunday afternoon and evening. Final thoughts from you, Walshy, after a disappointing evening here?
You can see the hurt in the players' faces, can't you? They're disappointed. It's time to bounce back on Thursday. You know, we've got some difficult league games coming up. Arsenal, Leeds, like I said, we've got Man United in that next 6 games, I think. So it's exciting times. Games are coming fast and thick, and they've got to be positive and take them positives into this game, because they deserve something out of the game. But we haven't got it, and we've got to just that final third, like we said, and that Castagna's just said there, the precision wasn't quite right, and I think he's correct.
All eyes, though, Matt, will be on that game on Thursday, of course, in the build-up this week for Leicester City.
Yeah, it's a quick turnaround, isn't it? And no time to sort of dwell on the last couple of results. But as you just mentioned before, it's a new challenge, isn't it? And it's an exciting one as well. And they'll bounce into it on Thursday night when they'll be sort of energised, re-energised, refreshed after a little bit of rest and a little bit of recollection of thoughts maybe, and be prepared to give it their all in the Europa League come Thursday night.
Well, thanks to Matt Elliott, thanks to Steve Walsh. You'll both be on LCFC Radio's Extra Time tomorrow evening to assess this defeat. And thank you as well to Simon Grayson for joining us on Matchday Live. Unfortunately, your debut didn't go too well in the end for Leicester City tonight.
That's it, Simon. You're not coming on again. We've lost.
Thanks for everything.
Well done, mate.
See you, Larry. Take care, mate.
Thank you very much, Simon Grayson.
Cheers, boys.
Unfortunately, as Walshy said, it did end in defeat for Leicester City here at King Power Stadium. Aston Villa and Ross Barkley stealing the 3 points right at the end. Do join us for Extra Time, as I said, tomorrow evening on LCFC Radio. And we'll be back for Matchday Live as the Foxes start their European adventure on Thursday.